Hi, my name is Katie Ziskind. I own Wisdom Within Counseling and Coaching. I help people of all ages connect with their authentic selves, whether that means to show up as the best version of yourself in your marriage and in your couple unit and break the cycle of high conflict fighting, or connecting with yourself and really living an empowered, embodied, confident life. You can learn about working with me and book right in my calendar by heading over to wisdomwithinct.com. That's wisdomwithinct.com. Now, I want to talk today a bit about gender, sexuality, and cross-dressing. So a lot of my clients that I work with struggle with challenging beliefs they've received from religion or a conservative religion from childhood, and generations of their family members have been in this religion, and the views that that religion has on gender and sexuality. So I'm a certified sex therapy informed professional. I'm a Gottman Level 2 trained therapist, and I also do a lot of inner child work. But what happens is I work with clients that have had a lot of religious trauma, where you grew up in a conservative environment, and at the time you didn't realize it, but there were a lot of messages like, don't be gay, gay is bad, if you're a female, don't be a lesbian, if you're a man, it's a shame to the family to be gay. There are only two genders, you're either a man or a woman, and these are really forms of misinformation. Or even if you are a penis owner or a man and you want to have anal sex, then that means you're gay, which is not true. Those are two separate things. So today's video is going to be about the intersectionality between gender, sexuality, religion, and cross-dressing. So first off, you might still have elements of this religion that you hold near and dear to your heart. You may identify as Christian, Jewish, Muslim, etc., which has very specific pillars or a structure of how to be a good, insert your religion, how to be a good Christian, how to be a good Muslim, how to be a good person of faith. And so if you go against any of these pillars, then there's fear of God doing evil things to you, God sending plagues your way, God making your life a living hell. And so there are some challenges to pushing back on these beliefs. Hang on, let me grab my dog really quick. A big piece of things, this is Blondie, a big piece of this is holding space, and that's what I do. I give you space to talk about religious beliefs, and then I also help you step into a more authentic version of yourself. So I work with a lot of men who started cross-dressing or dressing up in traditional women's clothing at a very young age, as young as toddlerhood, before kindergarten. And as a man, you may say, hey, this has always been something I love to do. I've always loved putting on my mom's high heels or my sister's nylon stockings. I loved cross-dressing from a young age. You didn't have the words to describe it at the time, but cross-dressing has always been something that has brought you great joy, euphoria, and even in your adulthood, pleasure, sexual pleasure. Now, cross-dressing is often shamed and told that's wrong, you shouldn't want that, and there's a lot of shame and guilt around it in a strict conservative and religious upbringing. So a lot of these faiths that proclaim to help you be a good person and help you go to heaven one day, they shame who you are right now. And so you may be in this inner conflict of I really love cross-dressing, I love dressing up in bras, I love wearing makeup, the smell of blush, the smell of makeup, the feel of lipstick, the feel of women's clothing on my skin feels so good, and I love this, and I don't know how to stop loving it, and should I stop loving it? You may have also gone through a binge and purge cycle where you've thrown out all of your women's clothing, and you've gone through months of not cross-dressing, but then you've started cross-dressing again. And cross-dressing is not bad. It's actually a really healthy form of self-expression. It's a really normal, healthy thing for many people with penises to do. It's normal and healthy, but you're struggling right now because the religious messages you received growing up and the information you were taught by the elders in your church, even to this day, the church that you like to go to every week, that you're heavily involved in, shames this thing that you really enjoy, and it makes you feel like you're a bad person, and it makes you feel like if you were to keep cross-dressing, that you would be exiled from heaven. And so it's really something that I would love to support you with. You can learn about working with me by heading over to wisdomwithinct.com. That's wisdomwithinct.com. I love talking with men who cross-dress, who want to process it. Maybe your wife has now found out that you cross-dress and thinks that you're gay, or is really afraid, and it's created a massive conflict in your marriage because it's something that for the last 25 years you've hidden in secrecy. Or maybe you want to talk with your wife about how you would like to use butt plugs, or have your anus penetrated, or have her use a dildo on your butthole, and have that sense of pleasure, but you're afraid that she's going to think that you're gay if you ask her about that, or explore, or kind of want more diverse sexual experiences with her. These are all things that we talk about together and we normalize. Just because you're a man and you want to have your anus penetrated and feel anal pleasure and have an anal orgasm, that does not mean that you need to get divorced. It does not mean that God is going to disown you. And these are things that we kind of have to push through. So I love helping people overcome religious shame, guilt, and misinformation, and stepping into a more self-accepting, sexually embodied perspective. There's a lot of shame that women experience as well, such as, you shouldn't enjoy sex, or you're going to become obsessed with it. Or if you start liking sex or give into your sexual urges, then it's going to become an addiction. Now that is a lie. And so we start to talk about what having a healthy relationship with your sexuality and sexual expression looks like for all genders. I accept you as you are. Cross-dressing is normal and healthy. Let's push back on some of these fear-based and shame-based messages that you've received from your religion. And then you can also take the things that serve you and integrate them into your body. But a lot of men that I work with fear that God will, have fears that God will punish them if they partake in cross-dressing, or they feel like they have to hide it and keep it a secret because maybe you faced physical abuse from your dad who found out that you liked wearing nylon stockings when you were 8 years old. And that physical and emotional abuse left a massive scar for you. So I would love to give you a safe place to talk about your sexuality, talk about cross-dressing, talk about gender, what it means to be bisexual or demisexual, all of these aspects, and just give you a safe space to be yourself and process, and know that cross-dressing is not inherently bad, and it's not going to take over your life if you engage in it, but kind of where that lies within your identification with the religion that you're in. Again, you can book right in my calendar by heading over to wisdomwithinct.com. I'm a Gottman Level 2 trained specialist, certified sex therapy informed professional. I'm a MAGO trained, emotionally focused couples therapy trained. I specialize in complex PTSD. So what that basically means is I would love to support you and give you a sex positive space to come into your own sexuality and to connect with the authentic, most authentic version of yourself. So I'm Katie Ziskind, the owner of Wisdom Within Counseling.